I am in the middle of renovations and I'm trying to see what's the best way to go about those cosmetics fixes in a way that it looks expensive, but it doesn't have to cost me so much money. And what's most important, it will make my property stand out in comparison to all my competition. If that's the dilemma that you're facing today, well, let me tell you, you have arrived to the right episode because we are going to cover that exactly today. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode at Nova Rice Invest. If this is your first time tuning into this channel, well, let me tell you, this is your channel for real estate education. So what we're gonna do today is to go over 5 hacks that I've seen over time and implemented, and also I'm going to show you some examples taking advantage of my visit to Maine. This room in particular actually has a couple of things that you can actually implement in your renovation that it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money, but it will bring up the value by a lot, and it will make you be that one property that either your renter or the buyer it's gonna wanna pursue because they can envision themselves living in that property. And without further ado, let's just start with the tour. And here we are, so let's get started with the tour. First things first, let's just open up the curtain so we can appreciate the view and get lots and lots of natural lighting. So here's the beautiful view of the ocean right here. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is just to help you picture out the layout of this room. It is relatively small, but as you can see in the video, it gives you the impression that it's larger. So let's just start with the colors. So as you can see here, this room has 2 dimensions of colors, so to speak. So the very first one is to start up with a very neutral light color, and that will give you the illusion that the room looks expensive. We no longer use white, and there's nothing with using white, but it's not longer trending anymore. You can still use it if you want to work on staging, which eventually will involve you having to put furnitures that have colors, maybe wall arts that have relatively a lot of color, and that becomes an expensive way to showcase and portray your property in a way that you want, right? So if you want to add value, if you want to make your property be different and look inviting at the same time, the best way to go about it is just by using a neutral color. A gallon of paint only costs roughly about $36 or so, and the only reason why I know it's because I recently did it, and so relatively expensive in comparison to color wall art, right? Now, that was tip number 1, neutral colors, right? Even if you get to use a slightly variation of a white, that still works, but just don't use plain pure white. Now, to create more dimension into it, we are going to use a color that is of a darker tone. It's an accent wall at the end of the day, right? But you want to create a dimension. I'm not sure if you can see this, but the room, it's pretty flat, but this section in particular stands out right here where you see the blue, right? So this blue right here, we wanted to turn that into something that draws the attention. We want to turn that into an accent wall, and typically for accent walls you use colors that are either darker or tones that are bolder. So in this case, whoever decorated this room, which is beautiful by the way, decided to go for a more neutral tone. So it has variations of blue, gray at the same time, and it's also neutral. So it is a gray, but it just complements everything, and it gives you the illusion that this room has different layers, so that way it looks not only inviting, but it also creates the illusion of depth and space. So it helps the room look larger. Now, another tip, another thing that you can do to create the illusion of grandiosity and make the room look more spacious and bigger is just by simply adding crown moldings right here at the very top. And usually these type of changes or this type of crown moldings, you will see them in properties that are located in the South. So states like Texas, Alabama, parts of Florida, even Virginia, they like the illusion of grandiosity. They like to come into a property and have the wow factor, right? Tall ceilings, tall walls. Unfortunately, not every single house, not every single apartment will have tall ceilings, but you can create that illusion just by adding this. And this is not an expensive thing to do. all walls have crown molding. They usually have the moldings at the very bottom. For older houses, they're usually not as sharp. The corners are typically, you start up from the bottom, and then as you go up, they're more of rounded corners. But nowadays, the trendy thing to do is to have very sharp corners, because it gives you that illusion that you're having something that is new, right? So you can take the same thing and put it all the way on the top. And you can find those fixtures in Home Depot. They're not that expensive. They're pieces of wood that you can just buy and you just hammer your way in with a couple of nails and then a nice layer of painting. And there you go. It creates the illusion that now you have taller ceilings, everything is more spacious, and you have more air flowing through a smaller space, right? So now, moving along, you can see that we have hardwood floors throughout the room, right? And I know that maybe you could be living in a property or in a place, or you might have seen some friends or other people's houses that they still have carpet from end to end, from one side of the wall to the other side of the wall. That's no longer something that is trendy anymore. And people like what's new. People like to be part of the trends. People like their house to stand out and be different, but at the same time still have that sense of belonging and new freshness. So especially now, having carpet from wall to wall might not be ideal because of everything that's going on with the virus and allergens and all that kind of stuff. It's just simply not good. So if you can, you should always go for hardwood floors. Now, I know these type of floors are not cheap. They are usually on the higher end, depending on where you reside or depending on the relationship that you could have with the vendor. You can look for substitutes, not necessarily hardwood floors, but there's something that is available now in the market. And if anything, it has grown a lot more in popularity, and those are vinyl floors. In the past, they used to look like very plastic-like and just simply not nice. But because they have grown in trends and in popularity, now you can see multiple variations of them, and the finishing touch of that vinyl floor looks like a hardwood floor. So you can find them in a big variety of color. Some of them are just like this one, but you can also find some that are of a darker wood color. Some of them are in a more grayish tone, but you will have different variations, and they're not so expensive, and they are very easy to install. All you gotta do is just take them out of the box, pull the sticker in the back, and just paste them on the floor, and voila, there you go, a brand new floor. Now, let's just move along. And another tip that's gonna give you the illusion that you have a property that it's up to market standards, trendy, and at the same time expensive, and also help you create that illusion of space, it's a sliding door. So rather than using the old school doors where you have to worry about, okay, which direction am I gonna open it to? Is it this way and maybe bump into the wall, or maybe this way and I might hit my furniture in the background, or should I do it the other way, but it might not be the best use to have a door opening on its way out. It all depends on the room that you're locating, but here, all you gotta do is just to create that separation. It's just one sliding door, and you can give it multiple use. In this case, the sliding door has a mirror, so it serves a dual purpose. You can look at yourself and fix yourself and your clothes before you head out, but at the same time, it creates a separation between one room or the other. You can definitely go about it using this type of door, but there's another way if you're looking for a more economical, budget-friendly kind of way to create that separation with a new sliding closet doors. A lot of people are using those for their closets or to just create a separation between one room and another, and you can actually find those in Amazon, and they are relatively low cost. A good set of doors can cost you under $100, but if you want to go a little bit above, you can pay up to $125 for a thicker material or maybe the style that you like. And if you're enjoying this episode so far, do not forget to hit the like button right here so you can help this episode rank and help others like you who are looking for this type of information. Now, moving along. Because you're still here, I have one bonus tip for you in order to help you create illusion while maintaining the open concept that everybody likes to have in their homes nowadays. And that's just with the use of an area rug. Now, I know it sounds a little bit confusing because first I said no more carpet, but this is not a carpet. This is just a way to create a separation and create that illusion that you have multiple rooms in one space, even though you're not building any walls anymore. As you can see, even though this is one open space, you can relatively see the separation between one area of the other. So you have the bedroom, quote unquote, this is where you sleep, but then you also have a study where you can just sit down and chit chat or read a nice book over here. But you also have a working station where you can put your computer, your laptop, and just brainstorm ideas or do things that you got to do, right? But this illusion would have not been created if it wasn't because of this carpet right here. As you can see, it's like literally right underneath the bed. Not only it creates the illusion of separation, but it also adds more layers, giving you the sensation that you're having a much bigger space. And so what it does is it sort of like solidifies the separation, but you don't have to worry about an actual wall and stopping the light from flowing in from the outside into this beautiful space. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you. Hopefully you found this episode valuable, and while I still have you here, do not forget to check this episode right here. That's going to help you complement everything you just learned today. So take good care of yourself, and until then, I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.